You ever see something so weird that your brain just refuses to process it? Like you swear reality just glitched for a second. Well, today we're diving into some crazy glitches in the Matrix that will mess with your mind.
I am going crazy. I don't know if I just went through like a different dimension or went through a time loop or what the just happened. Or maybe I had a stroke while driving. I don't fucking know. I live one town over from where I work. So it takes me about 25-30 minutes to get home. All I remember was getting on the fucking highway. My husband texts me. I look down. I text him back real fast. I look back up and I'm no longer on the highway. Somehow I'm in the town that I live in and I'm on this random ass fucking road that I never drive on. It's literally a fucking road that leads behind my company buildings. This road, people don't drive on this road, but I'm in the town that I live in.
Okay.
I have made it in the town. I'm 5 minutes from my house. And when I got here, it was only 5:14.
Okay.
There is no possible way for me to get from my job to where I live in 14 minutes.
Huh. That's interesting. I wanted to say, like, did you black out or something?
The last thing I remember is getting on the I'm so fucking scared I'm about to start crying. I get on the highway, I look at my phone, and I just write back, okay, and then I'm here. And I'm not like crying because I'm just crying because I'm scared. That shit scared the out of me. I feel like what crosses my mind is like, do I just not remember driving? But there's no fucking way I could have gotten here. Anyway, that scares me. Has anybody ever experienced that?
This is interesting. I have definitely experienced something like this, but it was just because, as I already said, I blacked out and I was just driving mindlessly. And then I would find myself at my destination, not even knowing how I got there. But in his case, it's weird because he said that he never takes that road to drive back home, and then that it took him a lot less that it would normally take him to get back home. So that's interesting. Was that like a glitch in the Matrix, or like maybe he jumped through a portal? I don't know. What do you think? Or maybe he just took that road unconsciously and it just really takes less time for him to get home than the road he usually takes.
All right, I'm gonna give it to you fast and hard. April 2013, I died during childbirth. I'm not from here. I've been telling my family I'm not from here. I'm not from here. I'm from the other world. Everybody thinks I'm a lunatic, and that's okay. We're all entitled to our opinion. But
I also think I'm not from here.
Now maybe people here will listen. So
Sometimes.
in 2023, I was watching a live on TikTok, and it took me to New York City subway, and there was military everywhere. Okay, this is a live on TikTok. Immediately after leaving that live, I go to another live, and it's a band playing in the subway with the exact background as the last live I'd watched. And so I get in there in the chat and I'm like, where's the military? And people are responding like, what military? So only one other person understood what I was talking about, and they're like, that's why I'm here too. Where's the military? These other people didn't have a clue. There was no military. Okay, there are different timelines, different realities. Okay, I'm not from this one. I was sent back here to do some work. I was given specific instructions and returned to this timeline, to this reality. We are creating this. There are people that they're not, it's merging. There is no veil any longer. There is no split. It's merging. And those who are meant to see will see. I've been screaming, like, it's exciting because I'm not crazy. We are here to work, and we are creating this. We're doing this. This is us. We are co-creators of this universe Do you all understand?
sorry
We are
that
co-creators
you got
of this
into
universe.
reality.
I made foam fall from the sky. Okay? I made foam while I took my kids outside just to test my theory. And I got our foam blower out. And as I'm blowing foam here, I live in central Kentucky. And as I'm blowing foam here at my house, it's falling from the sky on TikTok. Okay, there were so many people. This is in 2023 as well. It's merging. There's a merger happening before our eyes. It's merging. And we are creating this. We are energy beings. Us.
All right, this is very interesting. I've heard a lot of things about different dimensions or realities merging and the veil between our dimensions thinning. It's, I feel sorry for her if she really was in another reality and she got into this one somehow, I don't know how, that it sucks. This reality sucks so much at the moment. But besides the point, I think I might have an explanation about the lives situation on TikTok. What if someone was just playing video recording on live? They had a video they recorded some time ago and they just played it on live. And then another person was really literally filming live in New York. That's why that happened. And multiple people saw that. This could be an explanation, I think. What do you think?
Guys, what the just happened to me? Okay, I was on my way to a furniture store that's like 5 miles away from my house, okay? No big deal. I stopped at a McDonald's, which is right next to the store. Get a Dr. Pepper, and I have the receipt on my phone. That's gonna make sense later, okay? Keep that in the back of your mind. I have the receipt showing that it was literally purchased 5 minutes ago, okay? As I'm driving to the store across the street, I get a notification on my phone. I look down at my phone for a split second. I'm like, oh, there's no notification. That's weird. I just heard it chime, but whatever. I look back up. I don't know where the f I'm at. I've lived in this part of Utah for 4 years now, and when I tell you I know all of the surroundings in this area to a T, I don't know where the f I'm at. Now, similar things like this have happened before, like I'll get a daydream or like day fog and stuff, and I'll end up driving 5 miles past where I'm supposed to be or whatever. But it's not ever to this extent where I looked at my phone to type in, the furniture store that I was supposed to be going to, because again, I don't know where the f I'm at. Why does it say I'm 30 miles away from this store now? And also, how is that mathematically possible when I bought this 5 minutes ago? How do I travel 30 miles in 5 minutes? What the f? What the f? What? What the f? Like, I might regret posting this because of how crazy this sounds, and I know how crazy this sounds, which is why I am posting this video, because...
That's weird, right? Like 30 miles away from where she just was. Like, traveling 30 miles in 5 minutes is just impossible. Well, that's weird. Gotta be honest with you, that's weird. And it really does sound like a glitch in the Matrix. Have you experienced anything like this ever in your life? Because, yeah, that's weird. And that would freak me out for sure.
Somebody convinced me that I haven't jumped timelines or switched to a new Matrix, or that there's not been a glitch in the Matrix. So let me explain what I have been trying to legitimize and make logical in my head all day long, and I still cannot figure out what has happened here. Yesterday, I took my daughter to a thrift store. We were looking for a specific chair. She saw this pair of Elsa shoes from the movie Frozen and would not leave without them. They were old, they were kind of worn, and I was like, whatever, grab the shoes, let's take them home. They'll be perfect for dress up. I put them in her basket in her room. And this morning I came in here into the living room where we keep our shoes in that shoe basket there, and I see the Elsa shoes, and I was like, well, that's really weird. I had put this pair of shoes in her room in her dress-up basket. I can't believe she's already gotten them out and put them back in the basket. And so I picked up the shoes, I walked to her room and to the basket thinking, well, I'll just put them back in there. And there's 2 pairs of these shoes there's 2 pairs of these shoes. But that wasn't the part that I'm so confused about. On the bottom, because again, I got these at a secondhand store, on the bottom of these shoes, the same writing. So again, it's not like one pair was picked up somewhere else and they're secondhand. It's not like they were purchased at Walmart or something and we accidentally grabbed 2 pairs of these shoes. And also, I thought, okay, I asked her dad, did you buy her some of these shoes? He said, no, I didn't. I also thought back to Christmas. My mom had gotten her a pair of little Elsa shoes and then, but that's not them. These are them. It's a completely different pair of shoes altogether. They're the same shoe. It's the same size. They're both worn out in the same distress in the same way like they're secondhand. I'm so confused. Also, look at one of the shoes in each pair is missing a strap. In this pair, it's on this shoe, on the right shoe, and on this pair, it's on the left shoe.
Okay.
But both are missing a strap.
I was just gonna say that, so.
Somebody.
They're different,
Somebody
the right
explain
and left
this to me
shoe.
because I'm still mind-fucking.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what to think of this. This is really weird, and I see that this post has more than 4,000 comments, so I assume that people have a lot of different explanations and theories. What are yours? Please let me know, because to me, it just sounds very weird. And I think that because she showed like one shoe had a strap and the other shoe didn't have a strap, and then she had 2 pairs. One of them had a strap and the other didn't. So maybe those were different pairs of shoes, but she said that that one was the right one and then another one was the left one. Okay, but that's, wait a minute, but that's logical, right? So that one is the right one and that one is the left one. Not the same shoe? So yeah, maybe these are really just different pairs of shoes. One pair of shoes was with the straps and the other was without the straps. And well, I don't know how she ended up with both of them and she doesn't remember that. But maybe she bought both of them at a different time, or maybe she just, I don't know, but it feels like those are just different pairs of shoes with the strap and without the strap. I don't know. Please explain this to me in the comments if you have an explanation.
I think I saw a glitch in the fucking Matrix. Hear me out. So on Friday, I kept my daughter home from school because she wasn't feeling good. And I ran upstairs and had gotten a shower. While I was in the shower, my daughter had fallen asleep. And my dog is fucking obsessed with me and obsessed with anything that I wear, like my slippers, my shoes, my socks, my fucking glasses. And he chewed up my favorite reading glasses. So I had to venture out to Barnes & Noble's, because that's where I got them, and get a new pair of reading glasses. So earlier that day, so there was like 2 incidents that happened. Earlier that day, my husband had left for work early. And so about 5:15, 5:30 in the morning, he texted me saying there was a huge accident on our main road here and that it was closed off and he had to be rerouted. So after my shower, I come downstairs and my daughter's like, the dog chewed up your glasses. I fell asleep. All I could find was the arm. So I hunt around, I find him, and now I have to venture out. And I really wasn't wanting to venture out, but I needed my reading glasses because I was reading a smut book and I needed to see. And when you're 50, you wear contacts and you wear readers at the same time to see small print. So anyway, I leave here around 9 o'clock in the morning to go to Barnes & Noble's. And I'm literally on a mission. I'm just going to Barnes & Noble's. And I get there and I go right over to where the eyeglasses are, and I start wheeling through and I find 2 pairs. I go up to the counter. It's now about 9:30 and I have my Barnes & Noble's card. I'm ready to pay. I have a new cookbook and I have 2 pairs of glasses. I'm all set. So I get up to the register and I give him my Barnes & Noble's card, and he rings me up and he says, do you want to use your rewards? Hell yeah, I want to save like $5 fucking. So I give him my card and he's like, oh, you have to approve, this email, that this is your email. And then once you get the email, just approve it. So I do whatever the kiosk says to do, and I hit the little things, and I approve it. So then I go to my email, and I'm, waiting for the instant email because I'm literally standing in line. I should get it right then. And he's like, you didn't get it? I'm like, no. So then I just start scrolling down. Maybe it's like 1 or 2 down. And as I scroll down about 10 emails, there's an email from Barnes & Noble's, and it was at 7:30 a.m. And at that time it said I had received it 2 hours before I received it. So I open it up and I show it to him and I say, this email that says I got it at 7:30 2 hours ago, and he just looks at me dumbfounded. And I look at him dumbfounded.
What?
Because it's 9:30 in the fucking morning, and it said I got the email that he just sent me 2 hours prior to that. So I click the little thing on the email and it goes through because that's the email he just sent me. So that was the first incident. So then I go on our local Berks County fire to see if the road is still blocked off or if I have to reroute myself and go home. And at that time I see that the accident entailed a small child and CPR was taking place on the scene, or had taken place on the scene, and that they had medevaced the child. So I take the long way home, and the whole way home I'm just like, oh my goodness, there was a fucking baby in the car or a small child in the car. So devastating for that poor mother. And I just couldn't fathom it. As the day goes on, my husband comes home and I tell him like that road was fucking cut off for most of the day. It was horrible. There was a woman and a baby. And then I happen to go on Facebook and I see my moon sister posted a link to the accident, a GoFundMe. And it was a girl that I worked with, allegedly. Same name, same spelling of the name. The picture even fucking looked like her. I thought it was her. My girlfriend thought it was her. She even reposted the fucking GoFundMe on her Facebook. And I'm at this point now just floored because I work with this girl. I just spoke with her 3 fucking weeks ago. And I can't even fathom losing a fucking child and being in a car accident and then having that fucking guilt that you survived because she has 3 other kids. And as the night goes on, I cannot get this out of my head. Cannot get this out of my head. And I'm just thinking about her and sending her well wishes and she is literally the only thing that I can think of until I go to work that night. When I pull into work at 10:45, 10:50, I always text my husband to let him know that I'm there. So I open my phone to my messages and I see that I have a message from my girlfriend. And it wasn't my girlfriend, my other girlfriend that was in the car accident. So not only did I think it was her, but so did she. And then it wasn't even her. I think I fucking time traveled on fucking Monday. Weird ass shit. I want to know if someone else has noticed these little glitches. I mean, that email coming 2 hours before I even fucking got it was the thing that really just floored me, and then that happening the same day. So yeah, little glitches. Glitch.
Again, that's weird because I've definitely heard a lot more of these stories lately, like glitches in the Matrix. In the last, I'd say 3 years, 4 years, I don't know. And I wondered, did something happen around that time that provoked all of this? All of these glitches and weird situations and things. This might be crazy, but I think after COVID, I started hearing a lot more weird stories like these.
Okay, this is gonna be a really fast story. I want to share with you guys because of everything that's floating around on TikTok about people jumping timelines, going through portals, and they're really confused. They don't understand what's happening because this actually happened to my husband and I when I was pregnant. We were living in Missouri and there was this place called the Natural Bridge. It was a small hike on a nature reserve, so it was kind of out there. There were no homes or anything around it, just kind of in the middle of the boonies. This was our first time going and the last because of what happened. We were so freaked out.
Both of them. Okay.
The way it was set up was you drive back on this little street and there's one trail. So it goes straight up, and pretty soon after you park, you could take a right. And apparently that is the way to the natural bridge.
Okay.
But it was like maybe less than a quarter of a mile from where we parked to take a right. Like you could still see the cars. And so we are walking up straight. We passed that turnoff because we don't know. We've never been there. We're like, maybe it'll be a little bit further back. So we're just walking up this one trail. There's no other turnoffs. Mm-hmm. It's just a little trail going up a hill. But, you know, we're like kind of like, I'm getting tired. Like I was pregnant. I was like, let's just turn around and go to that little trail on the bottom because that's where we just saw a group of people turn. So maybe they knew how to get to the natural bridge. So we turn around up here. Mind you, we had only just walked straight up, and we thought we were just going to walk straight down because there was no other trail up there or turn off. And we turn around, but like things are just different. And what I mean by that is like when we were walking up the trail, there was really only one little landmark, I guess you could say. And it was someone had made a fire pit with stones around it, and there was a little log seat. And I was like, oh, that's cute. And I just noticed it because that was the only thing really that was there that was besides trees. Okay. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, saw that landmark. And we had just walked up past it, did not go very far, turned around and walked down. Now it's still a fire pit with stones, but there's no log there, like to sit on, like a chair. And then, this is where it gets weird, is there's suddenly a turnoff to the left. So we're thinking like somehow maybe we already walked down further, or maybe we could get to the natural bridge from that way. So that turnoff we did not see at all. And it was like clear, like a cleared path. Like you would have not missed it.
Are you sure?
So we take that
did miss
path. And when I tell you, we got so lost. We had our dogs with us too, and we were like, at this point, just telling the dogs to guide us because we didn't know where we were or how to get back. We couldn't get back to where we were because we didn't know where we were at. We found a creek to follow because we knew like we parked next to a creek. So we're walking down the creek, and we're on a whole different ridge line. Mm-hmm. Like we started here, and we're like somehow like on the other side of the bridge, like the natural bridge, and it just made no sense. And so when we started driving home, like over the next few weeks, we really did start seeing things that were just different in our hometown, like hotels that were not there before, that were like well-established, stores that were not there before. It was creepy. It was creepy, but we always were like, you know, weird. We're glad we got out of that timeline for whatever reason. Like we're always meant to be where we're supposed to be at. But we definitely noticed that, and that's something that maybe like my husband would have been kind of weird about or tried to justify earlier on in our relationship. And at that point, he was just like, there's no way to deny what just happened to us. So that's my little weird story. I hope it's not too long if you're still here. You're awesome. Have a great day. Happy New Year's.
All right, well, that was definitely weird. And it sounds like you guys really went through a portal. However, I was thinking like maybe you didn't notice that turn because you were busy having a conversation. So that's a possibility, but I don't know because there were two of you. So at least one of you must have had noticed another turn. And then about that log seat, that's weird. Not gonna lie, that's weird. And then like noticing that there's something different about the place where you live, it's just creepy, and like you can't do anything about that. And when you talk to your husband about this, well, at least he knows that there's the possibility that you went through a portal, but it just sounds crazy, right? And you just need to go about your life and just like keep pretending that nothing happened, or maybe something did happen, but you can't change anything. It is what it is now, and it's just weird. It must be a very weird feeling.
So I'm hoping someone has some kind of explanation for me for what just happened. My husband and I were running errands in Louisville, Kentucky. We left Costco, get on the interstate. We're about 15 minutes to our exit. And we get up to exit 18, which is just a couple exits before we get to our exit. And somehow we skipped our exit and jumped like in the middle of nowhere. We're still on the interstate though, but it's like out in the middle of the boonies. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I GPS. We somehow jumped within just a few minutes from exit 18 all the way to exit 43. At this point, the GPS, when we get back on the interstate, because we get off at 43, get back on the interstate, we are 25 miles until our actual exit to get back home.
What?
So something's missing here. Did we just like warp through a portal? Like what happened?
Definitely sounds like it.
So if anyone has an explanation, I would really appreciate it, because I'm just bewildered as to what happened. So yeah. Anyways, let me know.
That is just weird, you guys. What is happening when people are like traveling by car somewhere? Because there's countless stories out there and people like pretty much tell the same thing. They were traveling and then like bam, in 1 second it feels like they are 30 miles away from where they were. That's interesting. That's just I don't know. I don't have an explanation to that. Maybe both of you blacked out. Maybe you had a conversation and you didn't notice that you just kept going. I don't know, but that sounds weird to me. You know, my husband and I, when we travel, we definitely from time to time miss some turns or exits. However, we notice that pretty much right away, even if we're having a conversation. So that's why it's a little weird to me. Yeah, I don't have an explanation. Do you? What gets me the most about all these stories about going through a portal or jumping through a portal so far is that people don't even notice this, and they don't even realize just based on the time that has passed. And this kind of sucks because if you watch like fantasy movies or anything like that about these things about going through portals, usually in the movies people know when they go through portals, and when they do, they get into a place that is completely different. And in all of these cases, it feels like they don't even notice. Not feels like, they don't even notice and they realize later. And it just seems like there are some kind of changes, but they can't tell. And all of that just feels really weird. So they can't really tell. It's not like they saw a portal, they went through a portal, and they know for sure that they are in a different place or a different timeline or reality. They just don't know, and they are very confused, and they just have to continue living their lives, knowing that something weird had happened to them and feeling kind of crazy a little bit. So what I'm trying to say is that movies just mess me up. I thought that it was going to be like in the movies, but I guess if I go through a portal someday, I might not even know about it.
Hi everybody. So I just had one of those glitch in the matrix moments. I've seen a lot of them on TikTok, and I just had one of my own. So I get in the car and I see this little tag, this little leather tag.
Looks like the one that's on your hat.
And it says Brit's Knits on it. And I'm like, oh no, that came off my hat. No, my Brit's Knits leather piece is still there, but it's identical. I literally only had one of them. Why is this sitting in my car? Maybe I'm crazy. Glitch in the matrix.
Let's call it that. Again, that's weird, but there might be like dozens of different explanations to that. Maybe somebody else was in your car with you with the same kind of not a hat, but something from this brand, and the thing just fell off. Or maybe one of these tags was just attached somewhere to your hat where you couldn't see it when you got it, and it just fell off somehow in your car. I don't know. I'm just trying to find a logical explanation to that. However, gotta be honest, That's weird, definitely. All right, well, that would be it for this video, guys. So what do you think? Do you believe in these kind of things like glitches in the Matrix, or do you think that all this can be easily explained and there's nothing weird going on? So let me know in the comments.